Welcome back to Off the Course, the podcast where founders who haven't made their millions yet come to swap the boardroom for the clubhouse and share advice you can actually use. I'm your host Hattie, and today I'm joined by Jade, a brilliant brand and web designer. We dive into how branding shapes your business, why your website needs to do more than just look pretty, and the little design decisions that make a big difference for female founders ready to level up. So let's dive in. As business owners, you know when you desperately need branding help but can't justify the £3,000 agency bill? Yeah, me too. I've swapped that stress for a monthly premium print newspaper delivered to my door. It's called Brand Cult, and it's packed with real founder stories, unmatched sass, and actual branding support. Honestly, it's been a game changer. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the All Loon podcast, Off the Course. I am really excited to dive into today's episode. I am actually working with this amazing founder. So, Jade, if you could introduce yourself to us, what are you doing? Who are you? I'll let you take the lead.
Thank you. So my name is Jade and I am a brand and website designer, but I do like all sorts of design as well, like everything from like print stuff, digital, if you need a flag, you know, that kind of thing as well. But I do specialize in branding and website, and I am based in the Northwest, but I do work with clients all over the country and across the sea. So, yeah.
Amazing. And is there an area in particular that you do specialize in, or do you literally love to work with all different types of businesses?
So I always find that a lot of people are constantly telling you to like niche down.
Yes.
Like niche down, like you have to go in for this exact person or industry, but I don't want to go for an industry. I want to go for the kind of person you are. So the kind of people that I tend to work with are across all industries. So like leisure, fitness, I've got corporates.
Okay.
And to do more in like the fitness and wellness world, and like leisures, like coffee shops, restaurants, that kind of thing as well.
Nice.
But the kind of person that I niched down to is like service-based, ambitious, adventurous business owners. So yeah, instead of going to like a gender or an age group, that's like what I prefer to do.
That's such a cool tagline. I actually quite like that. Ambitious, adventurous.
Yes, that kind of person. Because just like, I just feel like there's those kinds of people in all businesses.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be like saying, no, I'm not working with you because you're in finance. I'm not going near that because it's property. Do you know what I mean? Like those kinds of considered drier industries. But actually, they are sometimes the most fun to work with because we're in a space where everything is so rigid that we can do something really like different. Do you know what I mean?
I think you also get the opportunity to be a bit more creative if you're breaking new ground and doing something that's completely different and disrupting that. It's that kind of purple cow theory, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I also really like working with women in those corporate situations as well, because they tend to want to really shake it up. Yeah. So we do some really cool stuff with that as well. I just felt like those industries deserve to have creativity as well, instead of being in the little navy grey white box.
It's always
they're always in
bright blue.
Yeah, it's just like, you just know like there's certain colour palettes for the certain industries, but when someone does something completely different, they attract that person that relates to that. So there's plenty of people like accountants. There's loads of creative people like us that need accountants. So, and we don't want someone with navy. Like we want something that's more interesting and more personality based. So yeah, there's so many different things we do.
I chose my accountant because her entire profile is pinks and creams, and it made it feel so much less scary, and like I could actually ask questions. My old accountant was navy, and I hated it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, there's nothing wrong with navy, but you want people to have personality, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, for example, my accountant, I mean, like I did design his brand, but it is all like, it's lovely. It's all like black and white, but there's illustrations in there that shows personality, and they really like lean into the fact that they're in Manchester. So a lot of their messaging kind of uses like a bit of Manc lingo, and you know, it's like pretty cool. Like it's just different because he wanted to target, well, like our kind of like clientele, like creatives and just a bit more like startups and that kind of person. So, and it's working for him. So
I love that. And So how does it work in terms of, so when I started both my business, I did probably the same as everyone else, and I Googled what do different colours mean and sort of played with the colours that I liked as well as the colours that made me feel how I wanted my brand to feel. How much truth is there in that if, you're, for example, a spicy brand, that you should use red because that's a spicy colour? Or is that just a load of hogwash and we should ignore it?
Well, there is a lot of it just depends on who you're trying to target.
Okay.
So if you're trying to target people who are a bit like sassy and a little bit more out there, you're not going to be using really like cool, calming colours because it's not really going to vibe with what they would usually be attracted to.
Okay.
There is a lot of like colour theory out there, and that's why picking colours for a brand actually takes a little bit of time, because what I do is I have my full like strategy conversation with my clients and we go through everything, their target audiences, what kind of energy they want their brand to give out, what's their industries and all of that. Like industries don't matter as much because like I said before, like you've got the stereotype colours, but there's nothing stopping us from going all out. If that's your target audience, we go all out.
Yeah.
So it is very heavily based on the target audience and then on you. Do you know what I mean? For a lot of business owners, like single business owners, their target audiences, more often than not, tend to be them.
Yes.
They tend to be quite heavily, like they've created that business because something was missing in their industry that they related to and they needed.
Yeah.
So they'll create it. So then the kind of colour palettes that I would create then tend to like work for them personally, but also attract their target audience. But the thing that people do get mistakes with is you don't want to be picking your favourite colours if it isn't going to relate to your target audience at all.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to be bringing in those people that you want.
Okay.
And that's the biggest mistake I think that people do make.
So the colour theory, it does make sense, but we're doing it backwards. We're choosing it for what we think the brand should be rather than choosing it based on what the target audience would resonate with.
So that's what people tend to do who don't really do the process properly, I guess you can say it.
Just most of us.
Yeah, because I mean, how would everybody know? I mean, not got an education in it, not learn about it. So it's like I was saying to you before, if someone was going to put sums in front of me, some people would look at it and be like, how can you not solve that?
Yeah.
Like, same, I'm just like, I'm not going to be like, how can you not see that shouldn't be that colour? Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. But yeah, target audience is the most important thing when we're talking about branding, because that's who's going to be paying you. Do you know what I mean? But I do hear other people saying like, solely target audience, it doesn't matter if the founder likes it or not, that doesn't matter. But I find that then like if you don't like your own brand, you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
Like you subconsciously think, oh, it might be working, or it is working and bringing in that target audience, but I hate it. There is always a way to connect with a target audience, I feel personally, and have the founder proud of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't feel like people should be like, oh, it doesn't matter if you don't like it at all. This is why we're doing this and this is what we're doing. Like, I don't feel like, I do obviously lead and tell my expertise of why things are. And that's when people kind of come around and be like, oh no, I actually really like it. I understand now. But if they're like, really don't like it, there's always another way.
I love that. So my first brand, my colours I hated, and I tried to like masculinize, that's definitely not a word, the branding, because my target audience, and kind of actually I was doing it, I still did it wrong. Subconsciously, I was like, I know my target audience are men. I know that they are in like the prop tech and the fintech industry. So I'm not going to use pinks. I use sort of reds and blues. And I hated it. And every time I looked at it, I thought, this is awful. So when I rebranded and became a limited company, although my main colour is actually navy and like a really deep red, I have a lilac and a light sort of pinky colour.
Yeah, like accent colours.
Yeah, which is more me. And when I look at the website, don't get me wrong, all Luna and Uko are worlds apart. They are not, you wouldn't even know they're the same founder. But I love both and I wear both with pride. And it's quite nice that I've now have two that I really adore to look at.
That's a really good example of going for your target audience. The fact that you are both completely different, but they're pulling in completely different target audiences, but you understand that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just not becoming attached to a certain style. It's two completely different styles, pulling in the correct target audiences.
Yeah.
But you're like proud of both. Yeah.
No, 100%. The only thing that links them, and I've actually only just thought about this now because I'm looking at both my business cards sat on my desk, is they're both like galaxy, space. Well, moon is obviously moon and it has a moon on it, and Uko is all very space themed and has like auras and aurora borealis, I think it's pronounced, on it. I'm not even into space.
No, you're not.
No,
Well, space is a really wide spectrum, so something for everyone in there, isn't there? So
exactly. Nothing in my house is space. Everything in my house is beige.
and your
I am
business
a
is space.
beige girly. And yeah, I've just gone with space themes for both, not sure how. So when we're talking sort of brand packs,
Mhm.
I think a lot of founders fall into this trap of when we launch, and we obviously touched on this slightly before, we just want to get something out there. So we say, right, these are my 3 colours, here's my font, there you go, there's my brand pack. What else should be in there that kind of your top 3 things maybe that you wish founders knew to get that step further to make their branding a bit more complete?
So I understand that when people start businesses, they usually have no money. It's a dream and you've just got to get something up and you want to get it like legit. So these are like things that I would suggest doing before you're at a point. I mean, I would always suggest getting your branding done from day one, because then you can establish something really solid forever. Brands can develop, but from day one, if you're showing an icon, you're showing your logo and your brand, people will remember it. But I understand there's financial issues. So I do know that people have to do their own stuff sometimes. But if you're like maybe over 3 years in, it's definitely time to invest. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, and then that'll take you on then, and you'll just grow with that. But I understand that DIY logos have to happen at some point for some people. Like I was saying, you just don't do it. Like some people, they need to have that physical thing done and some investment done in order to actually see it as a legit thing for them personally. So I understand that they have to do that kind of thing. I think the first thing is just figure out your target audience. Like that is the most important thing, and that will guide everything.
Okay.
I'll do a shameless plug. I actually have a freebie that helps you decide, like find out your target audience.
I love that.
Link in my bio.
We'll link that in the show notes.
So I would definitely suggest figuring out your target audience. Then when you're looking into making your logo, definitely make more than one version so that it can be used across different touch points. So for example, I always do a logo suite. So we've got a primary logo, which is your main like hero logo.
Yeah.
Then we have a secondary logo, which is your primary in a different way. So for example, say your primary is long and thin, your secondary will be stacked.
Okay.
So that, for example, if you needed to do a long thin banner, your primary fits in there. If you want to do like a vertical thin, your secondary would fit in there. Do you know what I mean? Instead of like trying to make your primary really tiny, we make a different version. And then we do a brand mark. So brand marks tend to be seen in Instagram profile pictures, and they're like the sidekick of the other two, of your primary and your secondary. They can sometimes be in your logo, but they can sometimes be separate. So that's like, you know, like little mascots, monograms, maybe an illustration that represents your business. That's what a brand mark is.
So is that kind of like the Nike tick?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I would definitely recommend having like a little bit of variety, but make sure they're all consistent. So you've got the same font and, you know, same colours, and they all link in a visual way.
Yeah.
With that, yeah, so target audience, multiple logos, and make sure that your color palette links to your target audience, and also that it's accessible visually. So you don't want to be putting 2 neon colors over each other, because then your eyes are going to go mental. You know, when they do that little like weird, yeah. So otherwise you're going to. But there is a great website that can check accessibility. So that's just so that for people who are colorblind as well, it's really useful. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can send it you and you can put it in. But that's really good for figuring out shades, because you don't want to put like a really light pink over white, because you're not going to see it. Do you know what I mean? Or like a really dark navy on a black, for example.
Guilty. So
yeah, color kind of accessibility for color and knowledge on that is important, because it's really obvious if something's amateur if it's not legible. Do you know what I mean? Or if you're trying to like cram a logo into a space, or if you've just got loads going on that just doesn't link to your target audience at all. They're not going to connect with it. They're just going to see it and like move on. That's the thing that happens. like I was saying to you, like people have to see things like 28 times now to like,
I can't believe that.
and you need them to like it straight away because they're not going to come back. Like it's
No
so,
pressure.
I know people are just the attention span. We all know
Yeah.
from schooling. I mean, like how many videos do you get through in like a minute? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy, and you'll stop if you like what you see straight away. So it's like it's first impressions straight away.
It's taken that hook to a whole new level, isn't it? 28 times is crazy.
I know. It's just, it's not only like the messaging on these posts, it's like visually what they look like too. So yeah, so it is important to align your brand with your target audience. So yeah, and there's lots of other pieces that go into branding, of course, but obviously when you're ready to invest and move forward, you can like look into more of those. But consistency is key. Consistency.
Yeah.
Stick to the colours, stick to the fonts. Yeah.
I think that's also really hard when you're new and you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to play around. You almost end up having to play publicly
Yeah.
to know what works and what doesn't. You know, when you we've just said, you know, you look back at some of the All-Loon posts, they aren't what All-Loon is now because I wasn't sure quite where we were going. But I think about brands like Salt. Now, they have been consistent with their colours and their branding the whole way through, but yet they've still managed to document their entire journey and taken us all along for the ride. And I think it'd be so interesting to know, I don't know if this is anywhere, if they had branding help or if that's just their genius. I know they've done most of it in-house because it is so, most people have heard of Salt. If you're on social media, most people have heard of it. And I think it's really interesting to see them playing publicly, but their branding is steadfast.
Yeah.
But they are arguably far worlds more successful than me, for example.
They will have got their brand set and then you can play with it. So there's always room for development in branding, like playing with your social posts, like marketing materials, maybe even doing like a kind of illustrative version of your logo for a different vibe, like if you need to for something, but not using it as your core logo. That's like an additional logo. So that's something else that we can do where you add in additional logos which are consistent to your main ones, but you can maybe you just use them on socials, like you play with them and they're like stickers. Never anything serious, and like on ads at the top of your website, in your bios, and all of that is your primary logos or brand mark or secondary, your main suite. But yeah, there's always room to experiment and play, like on socials. I mean, it's the best place to play because it's gone. Like 24 hours on a story, it's gone. Like if you want to experiment with something, as long as it's in your target audience and you're not adding in loads of new fonts and loads of new colors, there's no problem doing that. Lots of brands do it, like to keep fresh. Like Nike, you mentioned before, the amount of campaigns that they have done that just look so different, but you know they're Nike. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so
always that underline who it is, and the brand's so strong. But you can add little bits and pieces in, but they keep their core things the same. So like their fonts, their logos, their styling. So that's probably what Salt did. They probably set their brand in stone and then were given rules of how they could play with it.
That makes sense.
That's what I was saying before about the importance of, if you financially can, get your branding done from as soon as possible, because that's what will grow with you. And you can add to it as you go. But the whole goal is to be timeless and recognizable. And if you can do that from like day one, that's amazing. And then you do things.
And how much would it cost, for example, if I came to you with All-Loon as it is now? I've got kind of a rough idea. In fact, no, we'll go even earlier. I come to you and say, I'd like to start All-Loon. I've got a couple of Pinterest pictures and a rough idea in my head, and I need a brand kit. What does that look like? Obviously, you don't have to give away all of your trade secrets, but what would someone in the industry expect to be paying for that?
So it does vary, but mine is 3,600, and that is my brand camp offer that I have written and refined this year. Actually developed it over, so I've been in the industry for like 13 years now, just over. Been running JC Creative for 10 this year, and over all that time I've just pulled together everything that I've ever been asked, ever been needed, from brands, seeing where they make mistakes, when I deliver a brand, seeing where they're struggling with it, like, can they implement it properly? And I've created this brand camp service based on that. And it also includes a 1 week support WhatsApp. so that I can launch with them, because that sometimes is the hardest thing, like the panic, because they want to get it right straight away. So it's nice to have someone be like, no, that looks good, you're good to go. So in my package, I do a brand strategy. So that's where I figure out together we figure out your target audience, your mission, your vision, what makes you different, your values, and your competitors, all of that information. And I create 2 design routes, visual routes for you on mood boards. And then we discuss those, and then you choose one of those routes to take forward. And then I'll create you your brand based on that. So it's based on a lot of back work. So it's not just like out of the blue, you're just going to get what I think you would like. It's a whole process of like, I will like analyze you and your business, and in a nice way, obviously. And like, we'll figure out exactly what you need and what is beneficial and what is going to pull in those people, because that's the most important thing. We want people to buy from you, and that's the goal. So we'll do that. And then in that package, you get an icon suite. So for your highlights, then you also get social media templates, and then you get your logo suite and your guidelines. So your guidelines is like your book. So it's like what colors go on what colors, what fonts are good for headers and body copy, sizing, what not to do to your logo, like don't squish it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's more in depth than that, but you know what I mean. Like, there's a rule book, and
that's so handy.
And then I help you launch it for a week. So
I think that's so good. I definitely would have benefited from, like, say it's even just what goes on top of what and which fonts to use. I would say it took me a good 9 months to fully commit to what fonts and to stick with them, and to understand which fonts across then, because whatever fonts I use, Canva, do they then translate to the website? Does that then translate to social media? And that whole sort of going through things. I just think there's so much. The more I speak to people about branding, I feel like the more clarity I get, but also the more questions I have. So I can imagine, like, say, having a pack is actually so much more handy.
Yeah, there's a lot involved. It's a lot of the background work as well that gets to those points.
Yeah.
But also, it's one of them, isn't it? It's financial at the beginning, but it is very beneficial to have that, because it's in the long run, you're probably going to save money because your time. Because once you've got all of that set, you've got your templates, you've got like a guide, you're just going to save hours. Like if you think about how many hours you were tweaking colors, and then
I try to think,
like, and just being given them, like, this is what you need to stick to. Here are your templates. All you have to do is change the text. Do you know what I mean? And get like your content done, obviously. But writing content is easier when you have something to put it onto. Because I feel really, then you can spend more time writing your content, which is a really important part. So setting all of that up. But it is a massive time saver, like, definitely. And it's aligned, like, you know that what you've got does its job.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, instead of like second guessing. So when you get to your colours and your fonts, you're like, right, that's what I'm choosing. And then you'll probably just spend the next few months thinking, is this working? Do you know what I mean? Do they like these colours?
Is this serving me?
Panic, ditch those colours, change them again, see a competitor do something different, copy that. Not copy, but inspired by them, whereas you don't know their strategy. They might have changed their target audience and you don't know. Do you know what I mean? And then you're off down this road with them and you don't really know why. So that's something I see a lot, actually. I see a lot of people thinking that they need to look like their competitors to be successful. And it's so detrimental, because as you grow, one, your competitor could potentially see it and be like, you've copied me. It's not the worst thing. And secondly, like, you just don't know. You don't know what their goals are.
No.
They might want to go global. They might just want to stay like them. And you might want to grow a team, but they don't. They might change their audience, all these things that they might have decided. And then they set off on their plan with their strategy. And if people are like pulling bits from there into their own brand, it's just not going to make sense. So
that's so true.
Yeah, it's panic saving, isn't it? Panic saving the post for inspiration. It just leads to like bad mental health as well, because you just look at them and like, why are they getting like over thousands of views on that, and I've done a similar thing but I'm not getting that? But it's because they've done so much back work. Like, there's so much back work.
Honestly, I don't think this is talked about enough.
It's tough.
I honestly would love to talk a bit more about this, because I kind of touched on before, I know that Orloon is needed. I know that when I talk to women about it, it is a godsend. I receive messages almost daily from women saying how much it has made, helped, and supported their business. But then I look at competitors who are, and I'm going to say seemingly, because we don't actually know, doing better. And I just want to bang my head against a brick wall. So years ago, I struggled with food and body image, and I was in a very low point in my life. And I made the decision to go through and unfollow everybody that made me feel bad. And it's not their fault. They can post, you feel free to post wherever you want. But everyone who made me feel a type of way, I got rid of. But in business, I feel like it's really hard because everyone says, monitor your competitors, check your competitors. What are your competitors doing? But then in the same vein, by doing that, I'm just thinking, God, I'm failing.
Yeah.
And I think it's so hard. I feel like we've gone slightly off topic, but I'd really like to just acknowledge that if anyone else is in that boat as well, it's impossible. You want to break from going online and then you get penalised for it.
So yeah, I know it's really tough. You do need to keep one eye on the competitors because you just see what they're doing and what's going on just in general. But doing that doesn't mean you have to do what their content is doing and copy them. So the thing that just sets people apart is their branding and how their strategies. Also, you could be looking at them on Instagram and being like, oh, they're doing really, really well. But it could be because they have a really good email campaign.
Yeah.
They could be their legwork they could be at every single networking event. Do you know what I mean? They could be really actively working behind the scenes. And that is why their social media is growing so much. Or they could have started in a time when there was less competitors in that industry and just been one of the first to go to the top. That's another thing. I tend to see that a lot of businesses that started in COVID and did so well because everyone was online and it was just a time. And now those accounts are enormous. But saying this, I have noticed a few of these people with obscene followers being they can't sell anything because they've not got a strategy behind it. So they might have grown from a reason, but when they start to sell, it's not the correct. So there was this thing, I don't know who the influencer was, but it was a while ago. She had about 500,000 followers or something.
Yeah.
And what she had to do was sell 20 t-shirts and she couldn't sell them because her account wasn't directed and she wasn't pulling in the people who would buy those t-shirts. Do you know what I mean? So that's another thing. That's a whole different world going down the whole influencer world and having that obviously having influencers endorse you and stuff is amazing, but only if you align with their audience. There is absolutely no point paying somebody loads of money to, I don't know, get your fitness company in front of people when their account has nothing to do with fitness. Do you know what I mean? Because
that's so true.
But they don't care. They're okay. Do you know what I mean? They're oh, so she's doing fitness now. I want to see you.
That seems so
Now I can't stop going on about brand cult. It just gets it. It recognises that founders need more help than they can afford, and this newspaper is changing the game for us. The first issue walked me through building a brand obsession-worthy, with stories from founders like Lucy of Hair Syrup. There's no fluff, just the advice that you need. I'm sat here waiting for issue number 2 to land on my doorstep, and if you're building a brand that means actual business, head to brandcult.uk to get your copy.
Do you know what I mean? Are there for specific things. You have to have the aligned audience. And I say this to my clients who I work with influencers as well. They've got really aligned audiences. They do so well. They're doing so well in their businesses. Very proud of them. But there's some people that come and it's I just literally get DMs from weirdos. It's oh, it's because you're not aligning to who you actually want to get in. So it really depends what you're going to do. I'd say there is a difference between people with really strong personal brands and people who are more aesthetic influencers, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, having big audiences on socials, I don't know, I feel we're really emotionally attached to it. We just really want it. But would you rather have 1,000 people who want to buy from you than 500,000 who just don't? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I would.
I've learned this over the years as well. I work with a social media strategist because that's not my forte. I'm not a social media strategist.
No.
So I hire someone to do that with me. And she's just taught me, like, basically don't be emotionally attached to that followers. It's really good because look at who's following you now. Like, it's so aligned. And I'm like, yeah, it is so aligned. We're doing so good here. like just, yeah, it's just tough. But you tend to find the micro influencers do better, like under 10,000.
I love that there's like a rise of micro influencers.
They care about their audience and they've got a really strong community. So yeah, there's that as well. But yeah.
So do you think the whole influencer thing is obviously based around the trust? And obviously if I put something in the group and say, hey guys, like I've used this and it's amazing, everyone, don't worry, I'm not an influencer, nor am I claiming to be.
But you have influence over the people who
are around you.
Yeah, which is like,
if you can build that to a couple of thousand that, like say, do trust you, then that is a business. I would rather invest in someone who has, like say, a couple of thousand followers, but they buy everything that they tell them to.
Yeah.
Mincing my words.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that than someone like Kendall Jenner, for example, who her audience is not going to buy my stuff.
No, it's one of those. It's like influencers are so like, they're so good for companies and marketing, and it's just one of those things now where that's just how we market. Like the new like print ad, it's just the new billboard. Like we need influencers to do that, and it's a brilliant industry. Like it means that people could be self-employed, and it's a great industry. You just have to make sure that you're aligned to the people that can actually connect with like there's no point, because people spend thousands on influencers. I see a lot of fashion brands doing it, and some of them I'm just like, not like big brands, like a medium kind of brands doing it, and you're just like, their audience just isn't fit. Like it's not that vibe. Like I don't know what you're getting from that. And I've heard like brands say before, like I've spoken to people before when they've said, I've actually had no sales from that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, you're just like, that's the thing when there's like no strategy. It's just kind of like, it's like when you're like boosting your Instagram ads. Like you're just throwing money. It's basically just throwing money at things. But yeah, this isn't my like.
No, we've gone off.
Area. I'm just like proper. But this is the problem that I have sometimes, is that they're so entwined, branding and socials now, that you can kind of go off down one route. But it's just basically from what I've learned over the years. Like my full education is design, like brand strategy and stuff, but just live and learn, isn't it? Like
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I only started Instagram like, I don't know, 18 months ago.
Wow.
Because when I first started my business, like 10 years ago, there wasn't really any, social media wasn't really big. Like it wasn't really a thing that you should be doing. I wish I had. Done it from day one, but I'd word of mouth, LinkedIn, just cold emailing. That's how I did it. And then, I did loads of freelancing, did loads of corporate jobs, made a really good living off it for years. And then about 2 years ago, I decided, I'm going to shift my target audience, completely rebranded myself. And now it's aligned, and the people that are following me now are really aligned.
I love
Branding
that.
is really powerful.
Yeah. No, I love that. I'm a big cold email. As someone who does emails, I think if I reach out to someone on social media, I've got to prove myself kind of twice. Whereas if I do a cold email campaign and someone's impressed, I'm like, well, I've already shown you that I can do it. It's free displaying my work by getting into their inbox. So if we can kind of come back to websites. Now, obviously, full disclosure, you are going to help me with my website. We've had a little look through. You've given me some really amazing feedback, which I'm really grateful for. What is something that somebody should be aware of, a business owner who is building on their own before they're ready or have the funds, whatever that looks like, to get involved? Once they've got this really amazing brand pack from you, they're going to sit down and say, right, I'm going to spend an evening starting the website. Yeah. Where do we go?
So I do offer website design and builds as well. But like you said, if they can only afford the branding is the most important part. So get that first anyway. We need that first anyway. Otherwise, what's your website going to look like?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. We're working very backwards. Your logo doesn't need to be enormous. It doesn't need to be the width of your website, and it doesn't need to feature in there down here all the way. It doesn't need to feature everywhere, because the point of your logo on a website is that when someone lands on it, they spot it in the corner or in the middle and they go, I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
And then the next bit is clear messaging on what you do and a CTA of where you want them to go straight away, because people's attention spans, like we were saying, are insane. That brings me back. Like, you want it to load quick as well, because no one has time to sit and wait. So that the way to do that is smaller imagery and like that kind of thing. So, but there is quite a lot involved in it. But I'd say the main thing is just get them to where you want them to go as quick as possible, and that is what the CTA in the top does. Yeah.
Okay. And if they are building, you see a lot of these 5-fold pages, and a lot of developers do sort of, again, and I actually have one for Uko, it's to keep costs down. My Uko Pay website is one page. You can click your way down. Is there a benefit of having that other than cost over, say, for example, my Walloon website that has lots of different pages across the top?
Beneficial in their own ways, I would say. You can have a really solid one-pager, which is what I actually offer now. Over the years I've been like developing these services, I actually offer one big full scroller and then another one that's more in depth if you want more pages going on.
Yeah.
I actually offer the two with two different prices. You know, it's obviously cheaper to have the one pager, but you can build a really solid one-page website. You can do it where it kind of fakes that there's a nav, so you click at the top about us and the page scrolls.
That's
so it kind of gives you the impression that it is paged. But also like we were saying about people's attention spans, like it is good to have a one pager, but by the time they're on your website, they already want you.
Okay.
I actually did a video about this, about social media being the invitation to you and your business, and the website being like the party. So they've already all over. If they've come to you through socials, for example, they've already been all over your socials. And if they've clicked through to your website's job is to be like, yes, I am legit. This is what I do. Click through here, do this, like, don't leave, stay on here, contact me. That is your website's job, because you've already got them. And that is the last moment where they've read everything. They're looking at your services. Like, this is what I do when I'm in a service. I'll go through socials and then I will just read the hell out of that website. And I'll be like full on in it. And then you want the easy CTAs, loads of call to actions, all the way down, like book with me, or inquire today, or sign up for a free XYZ, or, that kind of thing, to keep them engaged and keep them clicking straight through to contacting you.
Sorry,
I was going to say, I think a lot of mistakes that are made from like amateur website builds are that people think that having their logo and like about them personally at the top is the most important thing, where it is important for people to know who you are if you are a one-to-one service, but you need to tell them why you and what you do first, like straight away.
Okay.
Also have that proof as well. It's testimonials visible on the homepage. Yeah, because I read as well.
Mine are like way down at the bottom.
I'm one of them that just reads through everything on your website before I work with you.
I do. Do you know, I inspect websites a lot more like than you would expect me to, considering the state of mine.
Like proper read it.
Yeah, I like go deep. I'll click into everything.
Yeah, I know, me too. I do that. But a lot of people don't.
No.
This is why landing on a website, logo there, I'm in the right place, message, what you do, CTA, contact me, why me underneath, proof, testimonials.
And what about pop-ups? I feel like they're a whole other world. Is there like a right and a wrong way to do it? I'm sure there are, but is there sort of something where you get a pop-up and you just think that was criminal? Or have you ever landed on a website that's been a pop-up and you've thought, oh my God, that's genius?
I'd say like the only issue with having pop-ups is if you just have them continually popping up, and you don't have a really obvious way to cross them off or apply to it. So my pop-up on my website is for my newsletter. It comes up when you've scrolled like 3 seconds down, and then you either can apply and be on my newsletter, or you can just cross it nice and easily off and carry on down my services. Because otherwise, like, people might already be signed up as well. And like, if you're popping up something, it's going to be like so annoying. You know yourself, if you go on any website and loads of pop-ups, they're usually ads, aren't they, to be fair? But I mean, if they're constantly having pop-ups. But yeah, if you want anybody, if you have like an offer going on, or you need somebody to know something straight away, pop-ups are great. Like, I'm trying to build my like newsletter list, so that's why I have my newsletter pop up, because I want people to sign up to my newsletter. But if you've got like a sale on, that pop up, brilliant, because then they're like, oh, sale, and they're straight in there. Or if you've got something coming along, like if you have an event, if you're like, oh, I don't know, I'll take next week's. We have a hike going on in the weeks. It pops up. It's like, sign up for more information. Like, and they're like, oh, and they'll sign up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things. Anything that you really want people to see, like, throw it in their face.
Have this
Within like 3 seconds in case they go.
Please buy my stuff. Oh no, do you know what? That's so true. Because it says, doesn't it? Like, what's the conditions of how to get the pop-up to pop up? And there's all these times or like cursor movements. So it is a within 3 seconds.
I find it's quite good, like this, the 3 second scroll, because they've landed on it and they're not moving yet. They've seen my logo. They've read in above the fold what I am. Then they do a little scroll and it pops up and they're like, she does a newsletter as well. And then they'll either sign up to that or they'll cross off and carry on down to my services and then my testimonials.
That does make sense. And I've somehow landed on, I think it's probably because I've been doing some research on web developers and designers. Some websites are creative, I would say is the polite word, faffy. Like, there's just so much movement and there's just so much to do.
Yeah.
Is that something that you just wouldn't recommend, that actually a static website is just so much more simple, or is there kind of a middle ground?
I'd say there's a middle ground. Okay. So it really depends on what business you're doing. Like if you're an animator, you're going to have it moving. But if you're like any business, the main goal of a website is to get that person to click through to inquire with you. That's what you want. So why put loads of random stuff before it? Like, you don't, if you want to be creative on your website, definitely, like, obviously I do creative websites and mine's creative. Like, I have things flying in and like all of that, but not like excessively and not immediately. Like, I have that a little bit further down and it's little tweaks like that. But animation on websites is lovely and it does show that there's been investment in the business and stuff, and that illustrations can look really interesting and fun. It can also connect with audiences who are looking for something that's a little bit more personality packed. So that is good, but I would 100% say just don't let any of those little quirks block them getting to the inquiry form.
Right, okay.
What you actually do and reading what you actually do. I know a lot of design studios go all out on their sites, but that's fine because that's what they're selling.
What they do.
So if you go on a site and you're after something that's like really creative and over the top, and theirs is really creative and over the top, you're going to be like, oh well, perfect, I just want what
they can do that.
Yeah, I want that, amazing. Like, and if you're like a really advanced technology company, I would suggest having some sort of movement or something a bit more like different and a bit more like people be like, oh, that changes color when we move and stuff, you know, something a little bit more to show how advanced and techy you are. So I do think that these little things are really nice to have, but most websites now you can put in like soft movement, you know, like parallax movement when the bottom comes up, and
I like that.
You know, parallax, and you can have like text fade up and pop in and things like that. You can do loads of that stuff nowadays, and that's really nice, like to give it a little bit more movement. But again, not every single piece of text needs to pop in.
Yeah.
You don't want the top to pop in, the bottom to slide in, the next one to flash in. Like, do you know what I mean? You want it to be consistent. If your vibe is nice and soft and you're like a wellness company, have everything float up, you know, that kind of thing. And it might be really soft. Like you might have a little, like your logo might be a circle and it might have a little rotation going on. You know, things like that.
No, I quite like that.
Yeah, so if you're going to move anything on your site, make sure it is relevant and going straight back again to, will your target audience like this? Will they relate to it? Or will they look at it and be like, oh my God. Like if you're in the corporate world and you're dealing with, I don't know, CEOs or just below, they don't have time. They don't have time for that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they're not interested in that. But it just like depends on your target audience again. But it's always nice to have a bit of movement going on and a little bit of like something different on a site. Definitely, even if it's like a really soft, like background image moving, you know. Yeah, there's loads of things we can do on websites now.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? That's not how your brain works, and you're not a web developer or a designer, you have no experience in that world, you don't even know what's possible. I always say I don't know what I don't know. Which is, I hate it. It's the worst feeling for me. I don't know about you, but I despise not knowing what I don't know. So
Yeah.
if someone says, oh, what's this? I'm like, I don't even know where to start with that. And that's me with, obviously, when we sat down on the call for my website, I'm like, I don't know why it's wrong, but I can see that it's not right.
But that's fine. That's the first step, isn't it? And that's why you hire in people who are specialists in those situations. That's why I hire Jess, my social media strategist, to do that, and why I do service launch courses and bits and pieces like that. You hire in these experts to do it, because you are an expert in what you are an expert in. Like, I'm expert in design, brand strategy, website design, that kind of thing. So I shouldn't expect to be an expert in absolutely every aspect of business. Like, I have an accountant. Like, I'm not myself. So why would I do my strategy myself? Do you know what I mean?
No, I get that.
So yeah, it's just about hiring the right people, isn't it?
For sure. And I think that's a big skill that we have to develop as we go.
I'd actually, just to go back to the website, if it's annoying you, it's not right. If you're having thousands of pop-ups or everything's moving and it's annoying you, and you can't even look at your own website to show someone, then it is, you've got too much going on.
Yeah, no, to be fair, that's so true.
Like, if you're going to click off it, if you hate your own site, how can you expect anyone else to? It's like if you hate your own brand. If you hate your own brand and it's like annoying you and you just don't know what you're doing with it, then how can you expect anyone else to like it?
You've got to love yourself before someone else can love you.
Exactly, because you have to sell it and you have to big it up and you have to show it. We have some clients come to me and they're like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed to even show people my website. And it's like, oh, I just don't show anyone it. I'm like, well, what's the point of it?
Yeah, you're literally paying for nothing.
Yeah, you need to sort out, because otherwise it's just up there. Years and years ago, having an online presence, people would be like, I just want an online presence. I just want to be like, so that there's something to click through to. But I just feel now everything is so overcrowded and people are just really up in their game in general. You have to put more effort in.
Yeah, you've got to, everything's going to be more.
You invest in things like they say, you have to invest to get money out, don't you? Like, invest to what? I can't remember the saying, but you know what I mean. Put money in to get money out. Yeah, you have to do that.
Money in to get it out. Yeah, spend money to make money.
Spend money to make money. Yeah, definitely.
We got that.
You have to. Yeah.
So I would love to finish with the 2 questions that I ask everybody at the end of every episode. There is an easy question and a hard question. Which one would you prefer to have first?
Let's go easy.
Easy? Oh, controversial. Most people go hard.
Do they? Oh.
Yeah. So I give you a call. We're on the way to Manchester to meet up, and I say, hey, I'm stopping at a coffee shop on the way. What am I bringing you?
Are you at Starbucks or where are you?
I can be at Starbucks or I can be at an independent.
An oat milk latte or an oat milk flat white. But if we're in Starbucks, it has brown sugar in it. You know, the brown sugar syrup.
Oh, yeah.
Anywhere else, oat milk flat white.
You can make that at home, you know. I make it at home.
Can you?
It's so easy.
We'll speak about that after.
Yeah. It's like brown sugar water, mix it up, it turns to syrup, pour it in a jug, and it'll last for a couple of days.
Amazing. I'm going to do that. But yeah, anything with oat milk, I'm in. And sugar, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I get that. So then the harder question, what is something that you wish you knew either about business, about entrepreneurship, about anything that you don't currently know? So for example, I said that I didn't really understand how TikTok worked, and I'm now learning. I didn't understand that. I'm really embarrassed at how little I know about taxes, and I feel like I should know more than I do. So it's something that you don't know that you think maybe you should know.
So I'm actually learning now, but it was how to sell and launch. So I'm good at selling and helping people with other businesses, but when it comes to your own, it's just so different, isn't it? So how to properly launch and talk about my services to people. It's more was getting past the cringe of it. Like I was saying to you previously, you have to just completely repeat yourself, and then you're like, oh my God, the word brand camp has lost all meaning. Like, I don't even know what it is anymore. Like, I have to say this word every day. But people aren't bored of you because they don't see it every day. You're the one that's doing it. So I think like how to actually sell my service was one of the things that I'm learning now that I've never really had to do. But since wanting to change my target audience and be on socials and really push my services, not through word of mouth, not through like emailing studios and freelancing and stuff, like being an actual direct to company, actually selling them. Like there's so many things that I've learned, like email campaigns. Like I said, I specialize in like branding and brand strategy, and I can like there's stuff that I do know regarding like that kind of marketing thing, but marketing is such an enormous spec. Like there's so much that you can learn that and paid ads. I'd like to know more paid ads.
Nightmare. I have launched today my first Eventbrite paid ad. Nightmare.
Learning like the meta ads are like that system is awful. Like the UX of that, like I don't have a clue. Ads would be great. Actually, ads would be great because I'm sorting the launching. I'm learning that now.
Yeah.
So I'm fine. But yeah, like I said, it's really hard. Like there's all these little bits and pieces. Like I know how to show up with my brand, obviously. I know how to design my posts. I have content going and all of that. But it's more getting past that cringe of having to sell yourself, which I think we struggle with as Brits, to be honest, because the Americans
100%.
do it. I follow loads of American designers because, like, you know, over the years you just do. And, they just sell themselves so well.
I would follow.
They are the best in the world. I'm like, oh my God, I really just need some of that.
No, I think Brits, we are born to be embarrassed by ourselves. I would follow. Literally, please don't acknowledge that I exist. 37 socials on Instagram and TikTok. Lily May, she does a lot about that and about confidence being in front of the camera and how to push past that and sell online. So I definitely give her a follow. She's very good.
Oh yeah, I will do. Yeah, that was a hard question. There's so much that I'd like to learn, like outside of my industry.
Yeah,
business, but taxes as well. That'd be ideal. But I pay an accountant.
I pay an accountant and I message her every couple of days.
My entire trust. You could literally. I'm just like,
I would have no idea.
I know, it's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm saying honestly, I'm like, please just sort it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everyone's starting business, get an accountant.
Get an accountant and get the right one. Get one referred, because otherwise you'll get scammed like I did.
Digi Accountancy, little shout out in Manchester, amazing. Shout out yours as well.
Emily Rose Vass, she comes up in every episode. At this point, it might as well be a paid advertisement. She is very good. So where can we find you on socials if people want to come and find you, and your website? Where are you?
So I am at JC_creative. So it's JAYCEE. And then my website is jccreative.com. So
amazing.
Yeah.
We will make sure to link everything in the show notes as well. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been really informative. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I'm very excited to see the development of the Allloon website.
Yes, it'll be good. Yeah, you'll love it.
I will. I have no doubt at all. But thank you so much again. It's been amazing, and we will speak to you very soon.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Allloon Off the Course, the space where women building businesses don't do it alone. If you loved today's episode, make sure to hit subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a fellow founder who needs to hear this. I'm Hattie, and I'll see you next time.